Hi everyone, it's Shirley here. Finally got around to it, making the checkerboard slippers. Let's get right to it. The needles I used are a 5mm double pointed needle, and I put the point protractors on the end. I'm using the double pointed needles because I sit in my chair to knit, and if I don't use the double pointed needles, I always catch the needle on the side of my chair. Next, the yarn I'm using is the 100% acrylic, 7 ounce, 198 gram, 360 yards, Yarn Inspirations, Bernat Premium, and it's machine washable and dryable. I'm going to be casting on 60 stitches. I didn't use my yarn winder to wind the yarn. So what I did was I pulled my yarn from the center and I took a pair of knee-highs and just pulled the knee-high over top. Before I did that, I did trim off the top because I found it was too tight around the top of the yarn. And I've done that to both of my yarns. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the loose end of the yarn in my right hand, and I'm going to make the slip knot. And bring it up and make the loop. This will be my first stitch. When I pull on the loose yarn, it will tighten up that loop for me. I'm going to turn it so that my loose end of my yarn is facing away from me. Insert my needle and tighten it up a bit. Loose end is over here, and the working end of my yarn is over here. To cast on my stitches, I'm going to insert the needle in that first loop coming from the right side, going through to the back. Wrap my yarn around. Pull that loop up, pull it up, and I'm just going to insert it through there and transfer it onto the left needle, and I'll continue this until I have 5 stitches on my left needle. When you're casting on, make sure that you don't pull too tight on your working end of your yarn, because it'll make the loop too tight and you won't be able to insert your needle. It will tighten up once you get the next stitch on. Going to insert it in there, yarn over, bring up my loop and transfer it to my left needle. I'm going to be casting on 5 stitches in each of the colors. To add my second color, I'll take my yellow, measure off about 12 inches or so, do my slip knot, now this one I'm going to leave a little big, because what I'm going to do is lay this out so it looks like that. I'm going to insert my needle in the last stitch, going to take my yellow and add it on, having my loose end facing away from me. This will tighten up once I pull on the loose end. I'm going to bring that up and transfer it onto my left needle. And now I'm just going to tighten up the loops. Remember, my loose end is the one that I can tighten up. I'll just pull on that loose one. And now I'll continue on casting on my yellow stitches. Remember, I want 5 stitches in each color. So I'll insert my needle in, yarn over the back needle, come up through the front, and transfer it on. Don't pull too tight. Next one. You should now have on your needle what looks like this. We want to cast on 5 stitches in the blue, so we're going to make sure that we take this yarn and just bring it across to the right, and now we're going to use this yarn to cast on our next 5 stitches in the blue. And continue on with the next 4 stitches. You'll now have what looks like this. We're now going to cast on 5 stitches in the yellow. We're going to take our working end of our yellow and cast on our stitches. I'm going to take my yellow, bring it across, and cast on 5 stitches in the yellow. I've cast on my 5 stitches in the yellow, and now I want to switch to the blue. I'm just going to take my yarn and tuck it underneath. The blue yarn is going underneath the yellow. I'm going to bring this across, and this is what it looks like on the back. And cast on 5 blue stitches. You have your 2 loose ends on the left and your 2 working yarns on the right. On the back, you can see that the yarn is being carried across the back, and you'll continue on until you have 60 stitches cast on in alternating colors. Check so I have the right number of stitches on. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. At this point, you can decide if you want your slippers to turn out with the alternating colors across the top, or if you cast on another 5 blue stitches, when you cast on, your colors will line up like this. Try to show you that. Let's see if we can get this lined up properly. There we go. So this is the top of the slipper. 60 stitches will give you the alternating colors. If you add on another 5 stitches, you'll get this look across the top of the toe and the slipper. so you can decide whether you want to cast on the 60 or the 65. I'm just going to cast on the 60. Remember, if you add another 5 stitches on, it's going to turn out a little bit bigger. Not that much bigger, but it depends on the look you want and the size. Okay, we're now going to go on to our first row of stitches. So I'll move everything off to the side and I'll be back to show you how to start the next few rows for the pattern.